Imagine standing at the edge of the known world. Behind you stands Rome, disciplined, relentless, forged in iron and ambition. Ahead lies a shadowed island swallowed by mist, a place whispered about in taverns and war councils. A land of painted warriors and ancient gods. Before this video ends, you'll understand why no empire, including the one you live in, ever truly lasts. Like and subscribe if that thought interests you. Also share your thoughts in the comments. Let's begin. It is 55 BC. The channel heaves beneath Roman ships. Wood creaks, waves slam, soldiers clutch shields slick with salt. And on the deck stands a young general, Julius Caesar. He is not here for trade. He is not here for diplomacy. He is here to make the edge of the world his. For nearly 4 centuries, Rome will fight for this island. They will drive roads like spears through forests, raise walls across empty horizons, crush rebellion in flame and crucifixion, and call it peace. But Britannia is no ordinary province. It resists, it remembers, it waits, and in the end, Rome will not leave in triumph but in retreat. In the year 410 AD, a message arrived in Britain from the emperor in Italy. It did not promise reinforcements. It did not announce a final campaign. It told the cities of Britain to defend themselves. After nearly 4 centuries under Roman rule, the empire was withdrawing. No dramatic last battle marked the end. No decisive invasion forced the legions out. Instead, authority thinned. Troops were reassigned. Salaries stopped. Officials disappeared. The frontier did not fall in a single moment. It simply stopped being held. To understand why Rome abandoned Britain, we must return to the beginning, to the moment when the empire first chose to cross the sea and extend its power to the edge of the known world. Because from the start, Britain was not just another province. Before the Romans arrived, Britain was divided among tribal kingdoms: Iceni, Cativalani, Brigantes, Silures, and others. There was no single ruler. Authority was local. Alliances were fluid. Trade connected Britain to Gaul and beyond. Tin, grain, hides, and metals crossed the channel. The island was not isolated, but it was beyond Roman control. In 55 BC, that changed. When Julius Caesar crossed the channel during his Gallic campaigns, it was not to establish a province. He sought prestige, leverage, political capital. The landings were difficult. Roman ships struggled against unfamiliar tides. British warriors met them with chariots and mobility the legions had not encountered before. Caesar fought, negotiated, extracted hostages, and withdrew. He returned the following year with a larger force, pushed farther inland, and again departed before winter. Britain was not conquered, but Rome had stepped onto its shores, and empires rarely forget unfinished business. Nearly a century later, Emperor Claudius chose Britain deliberately. Claudius had come to power unexpectedly. A military triumph would secure his position. In 43 AD, 4 legions crossed the channel under Aulus Plautius. This time, Rome did not come to demonstrate strength, came to remain. Southern Britain fell in stages. Tribal rulers submitted or were replaced. Fortresses were constructed at strategic points. Roads followed, cutting through forests and marshland. When Claudius himself arrived briefly to accept surrender, the symbolism was clear. Britain was now Rome's frontier, but a frontier is not the same as a settled province. It is a line under pressure. In 60 AD, that pressure erupted. After the death of Prasutagus, king of the Iceni, Roman officials annexed his lands, flogged his widow, and reportedly assaulted her daughters. The response was swift. Boudica united tribes across eastern Britain. She led a rebellion that overwhelmed Roman settlements. Camulodunum was destroyed. Londinium was evacuated and burned. Verulamium followed. Archaeological layers of ash still mark those cities. For a brief period, Roman Britain appeared close to collapse. Governor Suetonius Paulinus regrouped his legions. Outnumbered, he chose terrain that restricted movement. Roman discipline held against a far larger force. The rebellion was crushed, but something fundamental had been revealed. Britain could ignite. After suppressing revolt, Rome pushed west into Wales and north toward Caledonia. Campaigns under Agricola reached deep into modern Scotland. Victories were claimed. Tribes were subdued.
Yet permanent occupation proved costly.
Distance strained supply lines. Resistance never fully ceased. In 122 AD, Emperor Hadrian made a decision that defined Roman Britain. He ordered a wall built across northern England. Hadrian's wall stretched roughly 73 miles, lined with forts and watchtowers. It was defensive but also declarative. Rome would not advance farther. The Antonine Wall, briefly constructed farther north, was abandoned abandoned within decades. The frontier returned to Hadrian's line. The empire had discovered its limit. For nearly 2 centuries, Roman Britain stabilized. Cities developed along Roman lines, forums, bathhouses, amphitheaters. Villas spread across the countryside. Latin inscriptions marked public works. Auxiliary troops from across the empire served along the wall. Veterans settled locally. Religious practices blended. By the 3rd and 4th centuries, Christianity had begun to take root. On the surface, Britain was Roman, yet the frontier required constant maintenance. Troops had to be paid, walls repaired, coastal raids repelled, and the empire's center was beginning to weaken. During the 3rd century, Rome endured repeated civil wars and economic instability. In 260 AD, Britain became part of a breakaway state known as the Gallic Empire. For over a decade, it functioned independently before being reintegrated. The separation did not destroy Roman Britain, but it exposed vulnerability. If the imperial center fractured, the frontier could drift. Saxon raids intensified along the southeastern coast. Defensive forts were constructed along what became known as the Saxon shore. Britain endured, but endurance required strength at the core. By the early 5th century, the Western Roman Empire was under extreme pressure. Germanic groups crossed the Rhine in 406 AD. Italy itself faced invasion. Troops stationed in Britain were withdrawn to fight elsewhere. Some commanders declared themselves emperor and departed with forces, weakening local defenses. Britain appealed for assistance. The reply came from Emperor Honorius in 410 AD. Honorius instructed the cities to look to their own defense. There would be no relief. The imperial connection, sustained for nearly 4 centuries, was severed. Rome did not leave Britain in chains. It did not leave in fire or defeat or shame. Simply stopped. The salaries stopped. The orders stopped. The ships stopped coming. And one morning, the soldiers on Hadrian's wall woke up and realized no one was coming to relieve them. That is not how empires are supposed to end. That is how they actually end. Not with a final battle. Not with a conqueror's flag raised over a burning city. But with silence. With absence. With the slow realization that the center no longer holds. Britain was not the last place Rome would abandon. It was just the first place you could see it clearly. And if that thought unsettles you, it should. Because every great power in history has stood where Rome stood. Convinced that its roads would last forever. Convinced that its walls were permanent. Convinced that the edge of its world would always be held. They were wrong. Rome was wrong. The wall still stands. The empire does not. Subscribe and join us as we uncover the turning points that changed history.